gentlemen, please rise. And gentlemen, remove your hats for the playing of our national anthem. Following the Pine Richland Band playing the national anthem, please remain standing as they play the Pine Richland alma mater. To the Pine Richland Marching Band.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Pine Richland Stadium on this beautiful October 16th evening. I am Nicole Assad, joined with me is Sam Stella, and tonight we have an excellent night of football for you guys. Tonight we are honoring our senior football players and cheerleaders for their excellence in their respected sports. On behalf of everyone here at PRTV, we would like to wish them well during the remainder of their senior year and their time beyond Pine Richland High School. It's also the Hall of Fame night. So Sam, what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, Pine Richland is inducting its second ever class to their Athletic Hall of Fame, and they were honored before the game, and there will be a ceremony at halftime tonight, so stay tuned for that one. It will include the 1988 state-winning cross-country teams. That's a little knowledge before the ceremony. Tonight at halftime, you will want to watch that after the band performance.
And for the main event, your Pine Richland Rams are facing off against the North Hills Indians. Pine Richland, coming into this game, remains undefeated and had a stellar victory last week over the Shaler area Titans. And as far as for North Hills, they come into this game with a 2-3 record, as they are 2-1 in the conference. So Sam, what do you expect out of both of these two teams coming into this game tonight?
Yeah, North Hills is 2-3, as you said, but they're 2-1 in our section. They had wins against Kiski and Shaler, both big wins. They beat Shaler by 28 and Kiski by 21 just last week, that was just 2 weeks. Yeah, just last week. And 2 weeks ago, they lost narrowly to Penn Hills, just 14-7. So they have they have some momentum a bit right now. They're a good rushing team. They have two main rushers, Robert Dickerson and TJ Legler. They've kept the turnovers to a bit of a minimum this year, and so they should be a pretty formidable opponent for Pine Richland tonight.
Absolutely, and Pine Richland is a team known for their quick strike offense, obviously with Cole Spencer at the helm, and with this North Hills team, they have shown that they are very defensively sound, which is exactly what you need going against this Pine Richland team.
Yeah, and the thing with the Pine Richland offense this year, transitioning into them, is that they have a heavy amount of depth. So Pine Richland has 4 running backs that have all racked up a number of yards this year. Tristan Taylor, Brooks Eastburn, Jordan Burns, and Caden Schwager. They have 6 wide receivers with over 100 yards receiving on the year. Luke Miller, Alex Gochas, Eli Yoakum, Jeremiah Hazley, Andrew Mellis, and Charlie Mill. And almost all of them have touchdowns. We saw Charlie Mill with the big 91-yarder last week. So definitely keep an eye out for the number of different weapons Pine Richland will throw out there tonight, because it makes them very difficult to defend. Shaler wasn't able to spread out enough to contain it last week. We'll see if North Hills can this week.
Yeah, and speaking about being difficult to defend, the thing about having so much depth at every position is that each player likes to play their position a little differently, especially at the running back position. A lot of guys are a lot more elusive running backs, and a lot of guys are more power running backs. So when you have a lot of depth and you're constantly swapping in different players, it's really hard for the defense to adjust to know what is this guy's style of play and what's the best way that we should attack it.
Yeah, and North Hills, they have had a bit of a passing game, especially for touchdowns. They've thrown 6 passing touchdowns in the season, which is more than one a game, just about 300 yards on the season. So they've been very efficient. They'll probably pass a lot more when they get towards the red zone than trying to pass to move the ball in the middle of the field. They have way more rushing yards this year, but a lot of passing touchdowns.
Right, Pine Richland always does a great job especially with their safeties in pass defense. Their safeties are very quick, and they're getting to the ball, and they can cover a lot of field and very quickly. So that's why they're a really efficient team at stopping the deep ball, which is why Shaler last week, a lot of times it would be a 3rd and 12 situation, and you'd see them throw the ball behind the line of scrimmage and attempt to get the first down, because Pine Richland's secondary is a very good lockdown unit.
Yeah, as the teams prepare to come out on the field, there are fans in attendance tonight. This is the second game there's been a student section for. The theme is red, white, and blue / America. And there are also a number of fans regular fans in the stands, mostly parents and relatives of the team. Even some North Hills fans here, so you'll definitely hear quite a bit of crowd noise tonight.
And here, taking the field right now, are your 2020 Pine Richland Rams. The crowd is very excited as they storm the field, waving their flag.
They don't run through that big paper thing anymore like they used to for COVID reasons, but they still have a very intense and exciting pregame entrance.
That's definitely a shame. That makes the crowd go nuts. It's a huge crowd pleaser.
Yep, as we were about 2 minutes to kick off. Let's talk a bit about the coaching tonight, because this is an interesting dynamic. Eric Kasparovich used to coach at North Hills High School as the offensive coordinator. Now he coaches at Pine Richland. He played his high school football at North Hills, so it'll definitely be a bit of an interesting for him going against his old school.
Yeah, a lot of times when it's going to be really interesting, especially even in the NFL, whenever you see disciples of certain coaches, whenever they go back to their old organization. Like just recently, Jason Garrett was hired by the New York Giants as their offensive coordinator. And when he played the Dallas Cowboys, that was a huge storyline because Dak Prescott and Jason Garrett, they met at the middle of the field before the game, and they just exchanged words. So probably Jim Casey, the current head coach of North Hills, and Eric Kasparovich, the head coach of PR, most likely exchanged some words before this matchup.
I don't know. North Hills has had a number of coaches since Eric Kasparovich left almost 10 years ago now. They've had a bit of coaching turmoil, but definitely it'll be interesting for him. I bet. So Pine Ridge, North Hills has won the coin toss. They're going to be receiving the ball. You might have just heard that from the referees, depending on whether you were able to get sound from them. So we'll see Pine Ridge's defense out first. North Hills is going to try to put some points on the board in a bit of a hurry. Interesting to see Zach Warenka is going to be kicking off tonight. Last week we saw Warenka early on, and then they turned to Tony Nicasio in the second half.
The 2020 Pine Richland Rams program.
Yeah, Warenka is an excellent kicker. His leg is very talented, and he can just boot the ball 40, 50 yards.
Yeah, he'll be able to kick touchbacks. He'll be able to kick some touchbacks tonight, so that's definitely within the realm of possibility for Pine Richland. We also haven't seen Pine Richland go back to the onside kick very much this year. Last year and the year before, that was a bit of a common MO for this team, so we'll see if they do come back to it a bit tonight.
And the ref has just given the ball to Warenka, who is preparing to tee up and kick it to North Hills. And as he steps back to about the 30-yard line, getting ready to kick off the ball, we would like to thank you for tuning in with us here at PRTV. And the kick is up. It's being fielded by North Hills up the field with an open lane, and he gets tackled at about the 19-yard line.
Yep, not much of a difference there from it being a touchback versus having taken it out.
McGregor, the senior.
Yeah, they're both going to wind. They've ground up about the 20 anyway. So.
First and 10 from the 20 for the Indians' first offensive series.
We'll see what North Hills comes out in here, trying to put the points up early. Obviously, you don't want Pine Richland to put up a ton of first quarter points against you because it's hard to come back against them.
Now first and 10 from the 20. And we have our first flag of the game.
Yeah, Miguel Jackson jumped offside, the senior commit to Liberty University.
5-yard penalty, still first down.
It wasn't super obvious, but he shifted his weight forward. He was stopped himself partially, but I think he did cross the line.
That's a killer. Always try to keep your penalties, especially your defensive line penalties, to a low. Situational football is important.
Yep, North Hills now come out in a situation where they're a lot better equipped to get some momentum rolling on this drive.
And John Green Jr. is going to be the quarterback for North Hills. As they motion him in, he takes the snap and keeps it himself, pocket collapsing, able to break the tackle from Waryanka, but he's going to go down for a loss of about 3.
17-yard line.
So he's going to go down at about the 17.
Neal, the senior, number 3. On that
Yeah, number 3 tackling number 3 on that play. So Sam Neal got in. He's had a pretty big year starting at quarterback.
7 on the play. It sets up a
sort of
try.
negated any advantage they would have had from the offside penalty.
That definitely works in Pine Richland's favor, as it's going to be 3rd down.
No, it's second, but
Oh, my bad, because of the penalty.
yeah, the penalty throws you off.
Right. And he drops back in the pocket, scrambles out, and is going to try the deep ball into, and it's intercepted.
Yeah, that ball was well underthrown. The receiver had a step on him, but it didn't wind up mattering. Eli Yoakum was able to, Eli Yoakum, the top wide receiver for Pine Richland this year, was able to high point that one and get possession for the Rams. So not a very effective first drive for North Hills there.
There was 3 Rams in the area to 1 North Hills receiver.
Yeah, it was well underthrown. You could see it when he threw it. He wanted to throw it deep, and he just didn't have the arm strength to get it more than 30, 35 yards.
I mean, why?
Good defense there by Yoakum to get it up and get that then. Now Pine Richland has a chance to sort of start driving their momentum. We know how they like to put up points in a hurry. They had they had about 28 in the first quarter against Shaler last week. We'll see if they'll be able to repeat it.
So now for Spencer's first series of the game, there is a penalty flag on the field.
It's going to be on Pine Richland.
Let's go now to the referees.
False start, offense. That's going to be a 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
So Pine Richland got their second 5-yard penalty already this game from premature movement, and they will now have a much more difficult task on 1st down.
And they motion the back. Spencer is going to keep it, and he's going to pitch it back to the running back, who gains a couple of yards there.
Spencer pitches it out.
Yep, Jordan Burns, the senior, on senior night, got about 5 on that play.
5-yard gain, 1st, 2nd, and 10.
Good piece of running by Burns on that play.
As he motions out on this play.
And quick pass out
And
to the
Spencer
near
hits number
sideline.
18, Charlie Mill.
Charlie Mill makes the
Senior
reception.
on the near side.
And Pine Richland, they like to play this no-huddle offense. You probably won't see a whole lot of time between plays, at least in this first half tonight.
And they give the ball off to Burns.
And Jordan Burns.
Nice piece of running.
We'll see whether they give it to him.
And gets enough yardage for the 1st down.
Gets enough yardage for the
Yeah,
1st down there.
Exactly. The nose of the ball is on the 45, which is what they needed to get to.
William Tracy on the tackle along with number 8, Alec Apodaca.
Alec Apodaca was there on the tackle.
And there was an injured player out there for North Hills.
An injury on the field.
Very big for Pine Richland to get a 1st down there after the false start penalty, because now they're in North Hills territory, which matters for the field positional game, and they have a chance to put up some points here. Not quite 2 minutes into the game.
Yeah, North Hills is definitely thinking to hold them to a field goal. That's probably the best case scenario.
Well, they're Pine Richland on the 45. If North Hills gets a stop, it's going to be a punt. But, well, maybe. We'll see. Because Kasparovich, once he gets inside the 40, likes to go for it on 4th downs.
And
So
not
it's
only
possible that if you have a 4th and short, Pine Richland could wind up going for it.
not only that, in the pregame, the kickers were they were attempting to kick balls from 40 plus, and with some success actually, they made a couple of them.
Yeah, but they'd have to, yeah.
But then again, when you have obviously North Hills' line rushing at you as you're trying to kick, it does obviously change things.
I mean, it's not a very high percentage play, though, kicking a field goal from that far away. Like, they made a couple, but they missed way more than they made. So
That's fair.
First and 10 for the Rams.
I
after
bet,
the
especially if it's
injured timeout
inside
and
the 40,
45-yard
Pine will
line
go
of the
for it on
Marquez
4th.
Indians.
So Spencer is going to be in the shotgun on 1st and 10. And he's going to throw to the near sideline.
Spencer's
All that
pass
speculation is
is
rendered
completed to number
entirely
11,
irrelevant, it
Rich
looks
Eastburn
like, with
on
the
far
first
side.
down.
Pass is caught by Eastburn there.
That's going to be enough to move the chains again.
Yeah,
for the
Eastburn's
Rams.
been, that might be his
First and 10
first
from
catch
the
this year. He's
35-yard
been mostly
line.
serving as a running back. Impressive to see him line up outside and run such a clean route like that. As lots of Rams are motioning.
Yeah, they're motioning Hazley, and they just motioned Eastburn. And with the clean pocket, Spencer's going to go deep for Yoakum! Touchdown, Pine Richland!
Spencer to Yoakum, 35 yards.
35 yards!
Pine Richland gets those big plays, and that's Yoakum. Just caught a 35-yard interception the play before. Actually, well, quite a few plays before, but the defensive possession before. This time, high pointing a pass downfield from his quarterback for a touchdown. He's had a big game so far.
That was just a mismatch in coverage. Eli Yoakum was significantly faster than the defensive back who was covering him. So he was able to break away from the man coverage. And Zach Waryanka's point after is good, so the Rams are going to take a 7-0 lead with 9 minutes and 14 seconds left in the first quarter.
Yep. Definitely big for Pine Richland there. They like to move the ball quite really fast. That's why they get no huddle all the time. And that time they were able to create a mismatch with their interesting motioning and their speed in between plays.
That's why you got to be careful with how you use man coverage, especially when your receivers are quick.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
Eli Yoakum, and the 14th one. On the passing side, the quarterback Cole Spencer. Both of them celebrating senior night tonight.
Yeah, a good pass protection too. Spencer had some time back there to wait for the routes to develop and throw.
It was a perfectly clean pocket, and Tony Nicasio is going to kick this ball off.
Nicasio, King is set to kick off from the Rams 40.
And it's an onside kick, recovered by North Hills.
Nice catch there.
Nice
Nice catch by Alex Gochis. Not Alex Gochis, rather. That would be for Pine Richland. JD Grandstaff for North Hills. Made a nice play coming in and catching that. With that interesting spin, it kind of been easy to catch traveling end over end like that. I think Pine Richland was counting on him missing it so they could get it, because if he did miss it, it probably would have been recovered by Pine Richland. But
Great special teams play by North Hills.
yeah, and good field position now too. They have a chance to tie this game up if they can string together a couple just 10-yard plays.
Number 12 now in at quarterback.
Now number 12, Ethan Marker, is in at quarterback for North Hills. And he's going to throw to the far sideline for Jaden Smith, but it goes over his head, and it's going to be incomplete.
Yeah, it looked like he started trying to block, and then he motioned out, and that's why Hazy was it made a heads-up play there to try to push him away from where the ball was, because he was acting as a blocker until just before the ball was thrown, and so there was, I mean, Hazley came in and treated him as a blocker, and that ball wasn't able to get to him.
And North Hills is subbing in Tanner Inicky at the running back position.
Interesting. They also have a different quarterback on this drive.
Yeah, they have Marker out. And they're going to pitch it to
Jeremiah Hazley with a great play there. And the North Hills running back is injured, which is unfortunate, but I mean,
Lord.
that play was absolutely demolished by Jeremiah Hazley. and the running back didn't stand a chance there. As soon as he caught the ball on the pitch, he was hit, and a clean play too. Like Hazley tackled him below the waist. It was just that he had such momentum because of how he burst through the line of scrimmage there that he was able to make the play.
I mean, he looked like Cam Chancellor. I mean, that was just that was textbook hit stick.
It was some good play recognition too, because that was
About a nice chance for number
that guy was
25, Liam
lined up at
Tracy.
tight end, Liam Tracy. He was lined up at tight end, and he got motioned around, and they pitched it to him. And Hazley rightly saw that developing, and so he was able to burst through the line, which is impressive in its own right. Right where he needed to be able to attack the ball carrier.
I mean, I really hope that he's okay.
Yeah, he walked off most under his own tower, so
That's good.
He looked okay.
That's
he
good.
Wasn't,
And Marker is going to throw that in near sideline, caught by Smith.
Pass complete on
I mean,
the
it's
far side,
speculation.
number
I
4,
can't say
Jacob
whether or
Smith
not
for
he
a
was,
big
but
North Hills Indians game.
I mean, it didn't look like it was a leg injury.
Right.
Sam Neal, senior number
If anything, it
10.
would have been
And that's where he
chest.
got hit. You'd be worried about whiplash. Anyway, that was a good play there by North Hill as they were able to gain back most of the yardage lost on the play before. But it's 4th down, so interesting to see. Are they going to go for it? It's kind of hard to tell the way they're huddled. If there's a quarterback or if there's a punter, especially the way they've used different quarterbacks this game. But 4th and 8 is a bit of a long way to go. Would seem pretty difficult to pick up. Looks like they're in the punt.
And John Green back in as quarterback in the shotgun.
And they are going to punt. That was probably the smart decision. And Yoakum is going to try to field this ball, get as much as he
He's got
can.
some open field out there.
And he's going to get tackled by
Fumbled.
Eli Yoakum on the
I think North
return.
Hills recovered that. Yeah.
A ball comes
Oh.
loose,
Great play.
and North Hills recovers.
I thought he would be out of the went out the sideline.
Number 27.
Yeah.
Cameron
No,
Nicky.
he dropped the ball about straight down, and North Hills had 2 guys there, and one of them was able to catch it.
So
Great
North
play.
Hills
Wow.
I
has
was a bit
turnover
confused by the ref on the
special
other.
teams
The
play.
ref on the other side of the field looked like he thought Pine should recovered it, but he was just gesturing to the North Hills sideline to keep them from committing a sideline violation.
Yeah, because I saw Chase Foskey, 21 of North Hills. I saw him deliver the hit on Yoakum, but I just thought the hit sent him out of bounds.
Yeah, I mean, Yoakum had already gained like 30 yards in the return. He doesn't need to be cutting back, trying to cut back inside there.
Right.
Just go out of bounds.
And with multiple motions here and the flag,
Yeah, it
Marker,
was probably an illegal motion, but
yeah, Marker gets pummeled.
Patrick might want to decline it if they have an option. It was an illegal shift. Patrick will want to decline if they have the option though, because they were actually got a sack for more than 5 yards. Plus, it would be a loss of down.
Yeah, you can't shift 2 players at the same time. When you shift a guy, he has to be set
Illegal
for at
shift,
least 1
offense.
second
That
before you can
penalty's going
shift
to be
another
declined.
guy.
It's going to be 2nd down.
Well, or they have to be set for at least 1 second before the ball is snapped.
Right.
But the Patrick might lead decline it. That was some great pass rush right there. To get the sack. They had 3 guys that all broke through the line. So Pine Richland is there's a bit of a conference going on right now with the referees. I'm not quite sure what that's about, but doesn't look like anything came of it. So we're gonna have a 2nd down and 17 now for North Hills, potentially squandering some more great field position off the fumble.
Yeah, they've been doing some really interesting things with these motions.
Yep. Hasn't really been working out for them though. 2 big negative plays.
And Marker is going to throw the ball a little high for his receiver, Green.
3, John Green.
Yeah, Green was in a quarterback earlier, now out there
17.
as a wide receiver. I wonder if he was in Wildcat earlier
47-yard line.
on the first drive. But it's interesting, the way they've been using their personnel too is a bit odd. But as it is, it's a 3rd and 17 now. So Patrick's defense coming up big on this drive so far.
Let's see what North Hills wants to do here. Pine Richland's going to come out and cover 2-man. And Marker trying to make men miss.
Marker will keep it.
And it's going to be 4th down.
Yeah, he doesn't have very many rushing yards on the year. That's not really his thing. As Marker is their primary quarterback, so they were in different formation on that first drive. But Green's in right here, so Green is, but he's gonna punt because it's 4th down.
Yeah, Green was the one who punted on the last drive when Yoakum fumbled.
So that punt is going to be down inside the 2. So there's going to be pretty poor starting field position for Pine Richland. But the important thing is they were able to keep North Hills off the board after North Hills got the ball on the 40-yard line from an Eli Yoakum fumble.
So typically when offenses start inside their own end zone, they typically aren't going to pass the ball. And if they do, it's going to be a very quick pass, either to the flat or a quick slant.
Last week, we saw a 91-yard touchdown pass from Pine Richland when they were inside their 10, but it was a screen pass. It was a wide receiver screen that got ran for 91 yards.
Then again, that was Shaler's defense.
That's also true.
First and 10 on the 1 for the Rams.
North Hills beat Shaler 35-7 earlier this year.
And Pine Richland is going to run the ball, and he does have space. That was Caden Schweiger running the football.
To go back to the Eli Yoakum fumble, though, he was trying to do too much. He already had 2 really big plays on the night, and he should have just gone out of bounds.
Right. As they give the ball to Schweiger again.
And gets more than enough yards for a
and
Ram
he is able to get more than enough yards for a Ram first down.
Brought down by John
Yep.
Green, number 3.
Pine Richland's been running the ball
First and 10 for the Rams.
great on those last 2 plays to give themselves some wiggle room now.
And with a perfectly clean pocket, Spencer's going to go deep for Yoakum again, and the reception is made. The 45-yard line.
Eli Yoakum has had a really good game at wide receiver so far. He had the 35-yard touchdown earlier. This play, he has over 40-yard pass. Pine Richland just slinging it all over. You never know what they're going to do. They've run the ball for 8 to 10 yards a play. They've been throwing the ball big.
Spencer to Yoakum.
It's real. As they're in an interesting formation here.
And with a clean pocket, Spencer's going to go deep again, and it's overthrown for Eli Yoakum.
That was an interesting formation. It kind of shows the creativity from this offense. I bet there'll be a trick play out of that at some point this season. Brooks Eastburn, one of the running backs for Pancho, was lined up like 5 or 6 yards behind Cole Spencer and also like on the opposite hash mark of the field, which was kind of bizarre, but they didn't wind up doing anything with it. I bet they're setting it up for later.
And Eastburn's the back here. And he has some space going up the field. And
another fumble. North Hills has it.
Ball came loose.
Seems like Pine Richland to start this game has a case of the Butterfingers.
Yeah, ball security has not been at a premium so far for this Pine Richland team. It's been, it has been at a premium. Not many people have had it so far on this Pine Richland team.
I don't know where these guys are getting the butter from. They said the concession stand was closed.
Yeah, it is closed.
Due to COVID, of course.
Yeah, it's not good. They need to work on that going through the year. We haven't seen it very much this year from them, but it's definitely showing itself as to be a problem tonight.
And Marker is going to throw to the near sideline. Pass intended for Green, but it was incomplete.
Luke Miller had an intercept, a pick 6 there to be, had he just been able to pull it in. It went right through his hands. Hit off his hands, actually. He wasn't able to do anything with it, which is a bit of kind of the theme of the night so far for Pine Richland having opportunities. The only they're winning 7-0. We're getting a bit ahead of ourselves with the whole ball security thing, but it's.
I don't think we are. That's a huge momentum shift if North Hills capitalizes on it. As they're going to throw a screen to TJ Legler.
Pass complete.
Yep. The key thing is North Hills needs to capitalize on it here. If you're North Hills, you've had a ton of opportunities so far. You've had some great field position. You need to capitalize at some point.
I mean,
you're not going to get a whole lot of better opportunities than you've already had.
I mean, most likely in regards to the turnovers,
Pirates' defense has played very well.
Kasparovich is going to be telling his guys on offense that this game could very well be 14-7.
Yeah, North Hills could easily be winning right now. They need to capitalize offensively here.
Motioning Geisen. And Marker is going to throw a quick pass to Dickerson.
The other big thing is Punchton has been getting a lot of yards. Turnovers, you can't expect your defense to get a turnover every drive. So, a takeaway every drive. So if you're North Hills, you need to, I'm harping on this quite a bit because it's very important. North Hills has to score off these turnovers because they're setting their defense up for failure to keep forcing them to come right back on the field after a 3 and out and have to defend again against this high-paced Pirates offense.
And that was a awkward punt.
He shanked it. It didn't even go like more than 12 or 13 yards downfield.
I think it didn't really hit the sweet spot on his foot.
It did hit a player on Pirates' bench though, who's currently getting stretched out. So that's not good. He looks like he... actually, that might... yeah. Anyway.
Senior quarterback Cole Spencer back in the backfield in the shotgun.
And Spencer is going to be back in the shotgun.
Yeah, empty set. So looks like they're in a... as they motion Yokup again.
And they're just going to throw the pass quickly to Mill. And he has space down the sideline. Touchdown, Pine Richland!
42-yard pass play, Spencer.
42-yard pass play for the potential 14-0 lead pending the extra point.
We've seen him do a similar thing tonight. We saw him do a similar thing last week, rather. We saw him do a similar thing last week against Shaler. He ran it for 91 yards. This week they throw it out to him and he runs it for 40+ again against North Hills. He's definitely shown himself to be quite adept at those wide receiver screen plays.
Waryanka's kick is up, and it is good. He is 2 for 2 tonight.
Yep, so Punchland has had some problems, but they've also had some big plays, and so they're ahead 14-0 still in the first quarter. And that's you're Eric Kasparovich right now. That's what you need to be telling your players. Yeah, we've had some mistakes out there. We've had some problems, but we're winning 14-0, and it's still 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. So we need to go out there and just keep trying to pile on the points, just like we normally would. And deal with the mistakes later.
Absolutely, they were able to overcome the hardships that they faced earlier in the game with the turnovers, and now their defense just pretty much has to keep doing what they've been doing. Doing a great job stopping this very interesting North Hills offense.
Yeah, because North Hills had great field position in Pine territory after an onside kick. They had on the Pine 40 after a fumble. They just got another fumble from Pine Richland, and yet they haven't been able to put any points on the board. That says quite a bit about the job this Pine defense has been doing so far this game.
And kick is up, and it is going to be a touchback.
Into the end zone for a touchback. First and 10 from the 20.
So if North Hills has to score now, like they need to score soon, because you don't want to be down an increasingly large amount of points against this Pine team. And Pine scores, when they score, they generally score a lot. in a short period, and so you don't want to be on the losing end of that. You have to sort of blunt the momentum to stop them from building it. They were able to do it with turnovers earlier. They need to do it with scoring now.
Inicky is the back. Marker rolls out, trying to break tackles, and he's taken down at about the 21-yard line.
Their possession and line of scrimmage.
And Marker, with a dirty pocket, throws to the near sideline off the hands of TJ Legler.
Yeah, they had a wide receiver screen set up. It wasn't there. Pine got a lot of pressure, and so they had to throw it anyway. Like, that's what pressure does to you. You have to make throws that, like, you aren't going to get a lot of yards. You just have to try to salvage what you had before. Because even if he catches that, he's going to get tackled about the line of scrimmage.
And that's going to set up the 3rd and long here.
We'll see if Pine brings a linebacker here to try to get even more pressure, get a free guy at the quarterback.
Marker makes a great pass to the sideline. Brings up 4th down, though. He was short.
Pine Richland was smart. They did bring a linebacker from the edge on that play. That was really smart because it hurried the throw. If that pass is on the money, then the receiver doesn't have to go to the ground to catch it. Then he probably has a 1st down there because he could have made it to the sideline.
Yeah, that was a great out route there. As the ball is caught at the 50-yard line, and he is immediately brought down. That was Andrew Mellis of Pine Richland.
North Hills, like, if that pass is on the money, that's a 1st down probably, with the run after the catch. And so Pine Richland's pressure has been the crucial thing for this defense this game, and even for this team, really, because they've needed their defense to sort of blunt the bleeding with the turnovers early, and even the onside kick that was obviously recovered short. As an interesting formation there, as they come out in the complete eye.
And no one in the backfield with Spencer. And he's going to go deep again for Yoakum into triple coverage, and he makes the catch.
That just shows the trust that Cole Spencer has in Eli Yoakum to throw the ball down the field like that. And Eli Yoakum's having a big game. He hadn't had as many yards this season because Pine's been spreading the ball around quite a bit. But he's having a gigantic game tonight. He is really the #1 receiver on this team.
Talk about threading the needle on that throw. And Spencer's going to keep it himself, taking it up the middle, and they're going to take it to about the 5 or 6 yard line.
He's brought down by number 3, John Green.
So 2nd and 1 now. Pine, obviously, even when they substitute, they're playing extreme hurry-up. So North Hills doesn't have a lot of time to adjust to the new formation, to call a new play.
And Miguel Jackson is going to take the snap. Pile driving his way, and he's into the end zone.
They bring in Miguel Jackson at quarterback, who's their defensive end, and he just runs over the entire, what seemed like the entire North Hills defense there. He's a Liberty commit, Liberty University, and he met almost immediately at the line of scrimmage, and he ran through tackles all the way to the end zone.
They unplugged the refrigerator, and it got them the touchdown.
Yeah, great play there from Jackson. His sophomore year, Miguel Jackson's sophomore year, he had like 16 sacks. He forced 8 fumbles. Last year, he still was in the double digits in terms of sacks. He's had a great financial career. That's why he's going to be playing next year in Division I, and he shows that he has multifaceted talent on that play.
And tonight is senior night. Miguelson is a senior, and like we said earlier in the broadcast, we wish him the best of luck after he graduates from Pine Richland.
Yeah, very good play there. He's even stepped up and played some offensive line for Pine Richland, which is a much different skill set than defensive line. He could have been. He's an unselfish player. He was willing to. Eric Kasparov was talking about this earlier this year. He was willing to sacrifice a bit for himself so that the team would get better when they needed him in offensive line. So it's definitely very exciting to see him get a touchdown there.
And maybe a slightly less exciting play, the kickoff.
Yep, it's another touchback. That's what Pynchon generally has been trying to do this year, and they were able to do it there. It's always fun to see the race to pick up the ball in the end zone, though, because that looks like that's something the Pynchon coaching staff does, where they try to have their guys run out the kickoffs to get in some extra conditioning.
I mean, however you can get it in, you get it in.
Yeah. With limited practice time due to both COVID and obviously school, which is the more important thing. That's, you get it in where you get it in.
And Marker is going to hand it off to Green on sort of a wide receiver sweep.
These motions have been not helping North Hills that much. They've been helping to confuse the Pynchon defense, it looks like. But almost every single one of these plays has been going nowhere. They've gone for losses, actually.
That's why I'm really interested to see their adjustments.
Yeah, we need to see how they're going to deal with this, because they can't keep going to these motions, at least not right away. You can, if you go to something else for a while that works and then go back to the motion, you might be able to make it work. But you need to try something else right now, because they haven't. This North Hills offense hasn't been doing very much. I don't think they've gotten a first down yet, and Shaler didn't except once in the third quarter last week.
And with a clean pocket, Marker fires the football and it's intercepted.
Zach Warenka, the senior linebacker and kicker for Pynchon, was able to pull off that one. Another great play for Pynchon Senior, and that's impressive. He read that pass perfectly.
Marker wanted to get the ball to Robert Dickerson, but Waryanka just undercut the pass.
Yeah, great read by Warenka. He recognized the play, probably did some film study that prepared him for that, and he came through big time.
Just under 2 minutes to play in the first quarter.
Yeah, that was just great work with his hands. Probably got some reps with the jugs machine.
Yeah, great play defensively for him, and unfortunate for North Hills offensively.
And a screen. And look at that! Into the end zone, touchdown!
Richland, when they get going, has a number puts on points in a hurry. That's what, 4 plays apart. Miguel Jackson, the defensive lineman, running for a 10-yard touchdown, and then the backup quarterback lining up at wide receiver. North Hill's not even seeing it, and then a screen pass to him going for a touchdown downfield to Luke Miller. A pair of very creative and well done plays.
That was fantastic.
And Warenka comes back in for the extra point, which he converts well. Pynchon's up 4 touchdowns now. It's still the first quarter. The worries from like 4 or 5 minutes ago, game time, they don't look so worrying now for this Pynchon offense. North Hills has to figure out something. They haven't had a first down, I don't think, yet. And you can't win doing that. They've asked a lot of their defense. Their defense was coming through for a while. It's just that's a pretty big ask to continue to blunt something when you're doing nothing to help them stop the momentum this Pynchon team's been building up.
And John Green are back deep.
And as the ball gets teed up, Waryanka's going to kick it back to North Hills. Ball is going to be fielded with open space. Almost breaks the tackle by Sam Neal.
Big tackle there from Sam Neal. Warenka was back there too, who's the kicker, but also a linebacker. But almost a big play for North Hills, and they needed it. They need a big play right now. That would have provided them with a big spark there. Still a very impressive return, and gives them another chance at good field position. We'll see if they'll be able to convert anything with it, though.
And they're just going to give it to the back, Ayeki. And he's gained some good yards there.
Excuse me, that was Robbie Dickerson on that. Kickoff
That
return,
was
number 16.
he was lined up as a fullback there, Robert Dickerson, and
Play from North Hills.
he got 3, so positive yards now for North Hills. If they get 3 yards every play, then they will have they'll be working out pretty good, especially if they get 3 yards on first down. Now you're closer to the first down marker. You have a better chance at converting, and you don't have to go to as crazy of a play in order to get the yardage on a second or third down.
And he
Miguel
gets
Jackson.
all over Marker in the backfield.
Yeah, that was a great play there. He got the touchdown run earlier. That time he gets off his lineman to stop the play from getting outside.
Loss of
4, almost 5. It looks more like 5 than it does 4. And so it'll be a long 11. And North Hills needs to convert this. They need to get something going offensively. Pioneer's defense has just been playing very stoutly so far.
Yeah, North Hills is being very stubborn with their offensive scheme. It doesn't seem like they're willing to
Yeah, that was
change
another
it.
strange motion play, wasn't it?
Yeah. And Marker's going to throw into the flat.
So was that. Like, what do they do? You're throwing, it's a 3rd and 11. You have a guy that's lined up as a receiver run backwards 5 yards and outside a bit so you can throw him a pass, so then he has to run 16 yards. It doesn't really add up, especially when there's going to be at least one unblocked guy on that side of the field, matching up the number of cornerbacks and safeties to the number of receivers.
He'd have to break at least 3 tackles. And PR is going to punt it. Mellis.
It almost looked like that snap bounced. That was a good job. It was certainly low. It was good for that punter to be able to catch it. Green. It's very good for him to catch it because North Hills could not have dealt with that ball going back. 0.7, is that 0.7 or just 7 seconds to go in the first quarter?
0.7 seconds.
0.7 cents. The Pirates will be able to get another playoff before the first quarter ends.
They're gonna.
We'll see what they do with it.
They're gonna start. They're gonna get the ball at their own 38-yard line.
And then they'll switch sides of the field, so you'll be seeing them head the opposite direction in the second quarter.
Yeah, the teams switch sides quarterly. And with a clean pocket, he's had this all day today. Able to throw to the sideline, and the reception is made.
But there's a flag on the play, and I bet it's either going to be some kind of roughing or it's going to be holding.
Eli Yoakum with the catch.
Ineligible man downfield offense. That's going to be 5 yards from the previous spot. Replay first down.
Yeah, that play took so long to develop. Pirates actually got a man downfield, which obviously you aren't allowed to get linemen downfield. So they'll be called on the penalty, and they'll have to come back in the second half.
Yeah, that's an illegal man downfield.
Alright, so as they switch sides, let's talk a bit about that first quarter. Pioneer Twins' defense was really good so far, and North Hills' offense has not been as good.
Honestly, yeah, I mean, North Hills, their offense with all the options and the motions, it looks fancy, but it's not productive. It hasn't been productive. I mean, if I was Pat Carey, I would just completely stop using the motion plays. They're not going to get you anything. Like if you want to keep one more in your plan for the rest of the game, that's fine. But just play more conventionally. And Spencer with another clean pocket throws it quick to the sideline to Charlie Mill.
To number 18 on
And you have to wonder how much North Hills is using a similar system to how they did when Coach Kasparovich was the offensive coordinator drawing up the plays for them. That was an untimed down, actually. I guess North Hills opted to have an untimed down play in the first quarter, which makes sense for them. So now they're going to switch sides of the field. That wasn't actually the break between quarters. So now we can talk about that first quarter. That was kind of bizarre the way it played out. Let's talk about Pudgeon's defense again. So you talked about how their offense for North Hills isn't working. Let's talk about the pressure now for Pine Richland. Pine Richland has had tremendous pressure so far, probably in part because of those pulling guards for North Hills. But like it's you need to play better for the North Hills offensive line, because Pine Richland has had, I mean, Hazley had a straight shot when he nailed that guy for a loss. North Hills has run for 7-8 yard losses on 2 or 3 other occasions aside from that, and all just in the first quarter. Not a recipe to win. I was gonna say, I wonder how much if North Hills is using a similar system to how they did 10 years ago. I doubt they are. But you have to wonder if there are enough similarities for Coach Kasparovich to be able to see a bit of what's coming.
Pine Richland might be in the read option, and they are. They decide to give it to the running back, and he gains some good yards.
The ball carrier, the senior for Pine Richland.
For our viewers at home, what a read option is the quarterback, when he's given the ball, has to read the defense, and he has the option to either keep it himself on a QB keeper or give it to the running back, and that was a good read by Spencer to give it to the running back. As with a clean pocket, he's going to fire downfield for Yoakum again! And the reception is made!
It shows, like I said earlier, it shows the trust that Cole Spencer has in Eli Yoakum, and it also shows how Eli Yoakum is so good at going up and catching balls like that. He always jumps up and brings these in traffic. It's very impressive. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes D1 next year.
And with another clean pocket, Spencer, end zone, touchdown, Eli Yoakum!
Eli Yoakum's having a monster game as wide receiver so far. North Hills can't deal with him right now, and they need to figure it out, because he's had, 4, 5, 30-plus yard catches so far? I think 5. Not even including his 30-plus yard interception catch he had earlier.
He's finding all the holes in their zone defense, and he's completely burning their defensive backs in man coverage.
Yeah, very difficult to deal with someone like Eli Yoakum. I think other teams have been diverting more attention towards him. The Pirates have been spreading the ball out more, but you have to lock him down, because otherwise he's going to have a huge games like he did tonight, or is having tonight.
I mean, with how open he's getting against these defenses, he looks like Tyreek Hill tonight.
Another thing I want to mention is Puncheon's up by 35 points right now. North Hills needs to narrow that by halftime, or else it's going to be very difficult for them to win, because in the Whitfield, if you're up by 35 points in the second half, if a team is up 35 points in the second half, the clock runs in between plays no matter what. No matter whether there's an incompletion, no matter whether the play goes out of bounds, no matter what, the clock runs. And even if you get it back inside 35, it still runs. It's called a mercy rule clock. So it's going to be very difficult for North Hills to come back if they get in that situation. They need to make sure they avoid it.
And Waryanka, ball on the tee, boots it to North Hills, squib kick.
And it went out of bounds.
And
Thought it might stay in for a sec there, but we'll end up heading out. So North Hills will get the ball at the 35-yard line.
Kick out of bounds, kicking team. The ball will be spotted at the 35-yard line, first down.
Yeah.
First and 10 for the Indians from their
And
own
we still have
35-yard
11 plus minutes left in the second quarter, so North Hills needs to use that time to make sure that they have to win this next 11 minutes to make sure that they they can get it under 35 points, and to make sure, so that means they have to get some first downs, and they have to stop Eli Oakham defensively.
And they give it off to the back here. A lot of action in the pocket. And he's going to go down for gain of basically nothing, maybe a yard.
Number 8, a junior, Jeremiah Hazley.
Jeremiah Hazley made the stop there.
No gain on the play.
So with so many bodies all in one area, it's really hard to tell who's doing what.
North Hills has to, yeah, they had 12 men in the huddle there.
Substitution infraction. Offense. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Still second down.
The coach is going to get upset about that one because that's an unforced error, and
yeah, that's just beating yourself right there.
Yeah, they had 12 men in the huddle, and they needed to make something happen. Now they have a 2nd and 15, so they have 2 down to 15 yards. That's not conducive to success. You have to get like 8 yards of play. That's very difficult.
They need to try to get it to be 3rd and manageable. Marker with
More
the pitch.
interesting motions. Like, that stuff hasn't been working so far. They keep trying different versions of it, but the pitching and the wide receiver reverses and stuff, like, Pine Richland's been prepared for it. And so North Hills has to adjust to something else, and they haven't been willing to do that.
I mean, it's not even, it's just, it's becoming predictable. That's the whole issue with it. Like,
3rd and 15 for North Hills.
so now it's a 3rd and 15. And Marker's going to roll out. He's going to fire it deep, but it's overthrown.
Had he held that another second, he would have got sacked by Zach Warenka. He had to get rid of it, and that rush throw might have been why it was out of bounds, because he had an open receiver.
Yeah, Legler was the receiver he was trying to complete the pass to.
And so another punt for North Hills, another lack of a first down for North Hills. They have to adjust, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like they're able to.
The North Hills player kicked the ball.
Yeah, it wasn't off Pine Richland there. It was off North Hills.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Pine Richland will take over at the 35, 36. The North Hills has had some really great offenses. Historically, they've been a very good football team. They had LeVar Arrington in around 2000. They had Kasparovich at quarterback. They had LeVar Arrington. They had a state championship team. And their offenses seem to be a far cry from like what they were then, both schematically and just. I mean, North Hills is dealing with some larger schools than they used to have to, which I think is a large part of it. But schematically, they don't look the same. They don't look like they're getting too complex. They need to keep it more simple.
1st and 10 for the Rams from their own 38.
So it's going to be a 1st and 10 for the Rams from their own 38-yard line. Spencer in the shotgun. They're motioning Eastburn with a perfectly clean pocket. Spencer's able to complete the pass to the sideline to Jeremiah Hazley.
Yeah, very clean, smooth out route. It's one of the more basic football plays, and they're able to keep it moving. They're able to run another play and like without staying within 10 seconds of the play clock.
Staying in the shotgun with a very weak pass rush. They're able to dump it off again to Hazley, and he's able to break tackles moving down the sideline, going out at about the 31-yard line.
Yeah, but there was a hold, so that's going to come back. It's going to be a 1st and 20.
Holding. Offense, number 56. That's going to be 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Replay first down.
Not a very popular call with the Pirates and coaching staff sitting next to us, but I believe it was the correct call. That's actually, it's 10 yards from the spot, so it's going to be way more than 1st and 20. It's going to be 1st and 26.
Penalties at the 35-yard line, where it'll be 1st down and 26.
That's really good for North Hills, though.
Yeah, they have a chance to get a stop now and to give their offense an opportunity to bring it back under 35.
They're motioning Eastburn, and the ball goes off the hands of Yoakum, almost intercepted.
But see, that play, it made some, it was complex. They didn't wind up making the connection, but it made some sense because North Hills was totally following Yoko on the wide receiver screen.
Exactly. Especially with what Yoakum has been able to do with them so far in this game.
Yeah, so the fake worked out. They had some open space. It's just that they weren't able to complete the pass.
And they're going to give it off to the back. That's Schweiger.
It just seems like Patterson's more prepared defensively, especially coaching-wise, to deal with a scheme like that, like what North Hills has been running.
Colin Quinn, number 64, makes the stop for the Indians. Gain of 8 on
And
the play.
Quinn made the stop on that play for the Indians.
From the 43 for the Rams.
As Pogen takes almost an uncharacteristically long amount of time in between plays here, possibly trying to run the clock a bit. As it falls under 10 seconds.
And there's the snap. It's going to be a pitch to Schweiger. Jukes a man at the 45 and is down at the 50-yard line.
On the near side, and Schweiger's brought down
I
around
think they're
midfield.
going to go for it, though. So they ran the ball, but
Number 27.
they ran the ball
4th and 11. The ball
on a 4th
50.
and 18. It looks like they're going to go for it.
On 4th and 11.
Yeah, I bet it's a punt. I bet Spencer drops back and punts it.
And no, he's going to drop back pass. Now defenders are coming in, 55.
Yeah, that did not work.
Spencer is pushed out.
So it's going to be a turnover on
North Hills
downs.
is going to have some great field position now, though. They have a chance to make it work now.
That's been the storyline of this one. North Hills having great field position that they just haven't been able to capitalize on.
Yeah. North Hills needs to come up with something new here. They need to come up with they need to go back to basic. They don't need that. I'm wrong. They don't need to come up with something new. They need to come up with something different from what they've run this game. And what they've run this game is overly complicated plays that don't actually fake out the punishing defense.
And look, we get it. Slants, outs, screen, like they're boring. Fundamental football is boring, but it works, and they got to go to it. It's not as flashy. It's not going to please the crowd as much. But they're going to pitch it off to...
Look at that play. Pre-snap, they motion 2 players again. They've already gotten an illegal shift this game, and had they snapped the ball like a split second earlier, that would have been another one.
Miller, number 7,
Then they
75,
have a
Cole
like
Smith.
you can just run the ball to the same gap that they went through all that trouble to pitch it to run through. Like, you're much more likely to fumble it on a pitch than a handoff, yet you're pitching it to run up the middle.
Not only that, you're more likely to get tackled for a loss on a pitch, especially if Miguel Jackson has a good angle off the edge. And Marker is going to roll out. Gets hit as he throws, and it's intercepted!
Warenka again. That's his second interception.
Second interception of the night.
That's incredible.
He actually had a pretty clean pocket that time. He just held the ball too long. He held the ball. That was like 6-7 seconds. And so they were able to come in and hit him as he threw.
I mean, he should have either
Big
just
play by Luke. It was Jeremiah Hazley, I think.
when you wager markers options, he should have either just taken the sack and just cut his losses, or I mean, he could have just thrown the ball out of bounds with the receiver in the area, so that way.
Yeah, he held on to it too long. He was trying to make something happen by rolling out, and
I mean,
it didn't, and he still held on to it, and then he got hit and wound up throwing an interception.
Yeah, he was trying to play hero ball, and when you're down 35-0 and you try to be a hero, it's going to lead to turnovers, and then you're really going to be in trouble.
Pine took pretty long to get their offense out on the field, though, and so the play clock ran out of time. They had to take a timeout to avoid a delay of game there.
It's the first timeout taken in this game from both teams.
Touchdown Club and the Rams football program.
6 minutes and 23 seconds left in this second quarter. The score, 35-0 Rams.
Branded Solutions. Mark Pasquinelli.
Pine Richland has the ball again now. They have it inside the 40, and if they score, North Hills will need at least a 2-point conversion in order to get it back inside 35 before halftime. We haven't seen North Hills get a first down yet, so they'd be sitting very pretty if they get. They'd be in a very good position if they get a touchdown, or even a field. Get a touchdown here.
Schweiger's the back for Pine Richland. And they fake the handoff on the play action. Spencer's going to keep it himself. Goes down at about the 36-yard line.
Yep. His initial reads weren't there, and so he took the ball and he ran it. And he didn't hold on to the ball. He made a play with his legs and salvaged some yards.
And they're going to give the ball to Schweiger. Great piece of running down to the 30-yard line. Just short of the first down.
Gain of 7 for Schweiger and the Rams. Sets up a 3rd and 1.
And they're going to hand it off to Schweiger again.
Schweiger again gets the call on the 3rd and 1.
Another first down, or a first down for Heinrichsen there. Almost getting close to field goal range. Not quite in field goal range yet, but they're getting there.
27-yard line of the Indians.
And another give to Schweiger. And he breaks the tackle and is down at the 9-yard line.
Great play there. They've run the ball 3 times, actually 4 times, really. 3 up the middle with Schweiger and 1 up the middle on a delay with Spencer.
Yeah, he tried to get the stiff arm in, but he couldn't.
They ran it up the middle again. They're just running it up the middle on North Hills, and yet it's been effective for them.
See what's happening right now. They're subbing in 68, 73, and 71. Last time they did this, that's when Miguel Jackson got his touchdown.
Yeah, he's lining up at quarterback again.
Yeah, Miguel Jackson is at the quarterback position. And he's going to take it again. He's going to pass it. Touchdown, Pine Richland.
It's a really neat package seeing him come out and do that. And they burned North Hills twice on it. They thought Jackson was going to try to run it up the middle again. Probably could have run it for a touchdown, even though it was pretty crowded. And judging from what he did the first time he had it, instead he passed it, and very effective. Like, that play doesn't work if Miguel Jackson hasn't run it in for a touchdown from a similar distance on the first drive. Or on the first time they ran that formation earlier.
That's the thing. He was able to pull every single linebacker in because they all thought that he was just going to take it up the middle, so it left Luke Miller wide open in the end zone. And that's Luke Miller's second
receiving touchdown on a kind of trick play, too, because he had the one on the double pass earlier. Pine Pirate's been very creative in this game, and yet the ways they've been creative, it's effective. Like, you run the ball up the middle with the defensive lineman, and then you have your defensive lineman in again, and you run it, and then have him do a jump pass. That would fake out the defense the second time. It's not like just trying to run a fake just for the sake of having it in your play, which seems to be what North Hills has been trying to do offensively. It's almost like, it's almost like in The Water Boy, they ran all kinds of trick plays and stuff. The movie The Water Boy, but like, and they were effective because they were good fakes. But if the other team tried to draw up a similar play where the coach didn't know what they were doing offensively, then it would look a bit more like what North Hills' offenses looked like.
And North Hills fielding that kick by Nicasio
And Dickerson gets
down
another
at
run back
about
on
the
far side,
35-yard line.
And I mean, North Hills hasn't been doing this some of the other weeks. Like, North Hills has had some pretty effective offensive performances. I think it's just because they're playing Pine Richland, they thought they needed to add this stuff into their offense when they really don't need to. Like, their offense has looked pretty decent some of the other weeks they've played.
I mean, they clearly didn't do a good job preparing for this game.
It might just be Pine Richland's defense that has it looking not as good, but it's not a particularly useful. The concepts they're running aren't particularly useful.
I mean, really, what you should be doing, what your aim as an offense is to do, is obviously score points. And instead of them running these plays that they just, I mean, here's the thing: the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. It makes no sense. Like, read the Pine Richland defense. Whatever they're giving you, scheme up a play to beat the coverage that you're seeing in front of you. Trust your quarterback to read the defense, audible at the line of scrimmage like Spencer has been doing, and that's how you win games.
Yeah, Pine Richland's audibled quite a few times. They have their guys on the sidelines in colorful hats that, like, the red visors, I think, tonight, that do the motions and stuff, and they change plays a lot at the line. I haven't seen anything like that coming in from North Hills' sideline.
Now they have Green in at quarterback.
Miguel Jackson was the first one to get there that time. Good defensive stub.
Yeah, Curtis Foskey was the ball carrier there.
Forward motion gets a yard gain before he's wrapped up by several members of the Rams defense. 2nd down and 9.
They must not have liked what they saw out of Marker because they replaced him with Green.
Yeah, very
and he's
interesting
gonna
dual. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Pass is incomplete, intended for number 13
Yep,
on the far
incomplete
side.
pass there. Very interesting dual quarterback situation we've seen this game, because Green has thrown 2 passes this year that have been completed,
Sam Neal on
and
cover.
Marker's thrown like 20.
Pine Richland.
Yet we've seen them play almost equal amounts of times this game, which is also kind of odd. I mean, the thing with running creative plays is if they work, you look really smart, and if they don't, then you don't look like that. But it's also true that the quality of the creative play you're running is relevant when you're discussing that. Like, being creative for the sake of being creative isn't good if it's not, if it doesn't make sense. Like, if it doesn't make sense that it will be effective.
Oftentimes when people get creative, it's because they see a matchup in the defense that they know they can exploit.
Yeah.
Like with Miguel Jackson getting that passing touchdown. They knew that they were going to be able to pull out all the defenders to give Miller to give Miller like a wide open end zone and make it probably the easiest pass Jackson would ever have to make.
Excluding penalty yards, I'm not sure North Hills has positive yards. I don't know that North Hills has a net positive yards offensively this game. I'd bet you that it's actually they've lost yards on net offensively this game, which is not
how you win. That's not how you win football games.
They still don't have a first down. And it's a 3rd and 9 here, which isn't a great situation. They're down. They need to get it within 35, but they only have 4 minutes to do it.
And that's a very dirty pocket as they're able to get the screen out.
There was a hold. It looks like there was a hold.
Yeah, there are flags down.
Pass was received by number 14, Timothy Legger.
Illegal motion, offense. That penalty is going to be declined, 4th down.
So they didn't even call it a hold. They called an illegal motion, which is the 2nd or 3rd time North Hills has been caught doing that. Not even to mention the illegal substitution. It's not been good. Panchin was smart to decline it there.
And there's the punt. Mellis back to return it.
Another fumble, though. So North Hills, that's 3 fumbles for Pine Richland.
Yeah, he muffed the punt, but there's a flag.
It might be a kick-catch interference. I have a feeling that this one will Pine Richland retain possession. Because that was a very sketchy situation there. Like, it looked like the defender might have interfered with the kick catch.
Let's go down to the referees and see what the ruling is.
Kick-catching interference against the kicking team. That's going to be 15 yards from where the spot of the kick was, 1st down.
Yeah, so Pine Richland now will retain possession because the kick catch was interfered with, which is why there was a fumble. And North Hills has 3 minutes and 36 seconds to get the ball, get a touchdown, get a 2-point conversion, so they're within 35. And if you're wondering why I keep harping about 35, it's because if they're down by 35 in the second half, the clock will run continuously for the rest of the game. It won't stop on incompletions, it won't stop at all, and it's very, very, very difficult to come back in that situation.
3:36 remaining in the first
So it
half.
is very important that they score a touchdown. And Spencer is coming out here in the shotgun. He's had all day to throw. And now they bring in Eastburn. Flag out on the field.
Brooks Eastburn on the carry with the flag down.
So
Let's
this might-
talk about the pass protection. Yeah, Pine Richland had some very good pass protection so
Holding,
far.
offense, number 55, 10 yards, spotted a foul, replay first.
I mean, the offensive line's had a few penalties. They had a false start. They've had 2 holdings now, I think. But their blocking has been very solid so far. Cole Spencer's had plenty of time to throw, and he's taken advantage throwing to Yoakum downfield as many times and as effectively as he has.
Yeah, their offensive line has done a good job defending everything from the bull rushes to the swim moves. Just great all-around job by the offensive line of Pine Richland. As they come out in the shotgun again. Spencer with time. Yoakum. Reception is made.
And that's a first down on a 1st and 22. Eli Yoakum goes up over a defender and makes another big catch. He's had an insane game. He's been playing so well.
Yeah,
Other than the fumble on the bizarre punt return, he's had such a great game. He had an interception. He's had at least 2 touchdowns. He's had 5 30-plus yard catches and 6 if you include 20-plus after that one.
Yeah, Chase Foskey was covering Yoakum on that play.
I hesitate to say, do you think he got mossed on that one?
I mean, honestly, yeah. That'd be a good way to put it.
That's where the receiver goes up and catches the ball over the over the defender's head and brings it in. Named after NFL wide receiver Randy Moss.
who's a
Yeah.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah, Hall of Fame receiver. That was a very impressive play. One of the more impressive catches I've seen this season for Pine Richland's offense.
Yeah, Randy Moss played for the Vikings, Patriots, Titans, Raiders, and the Niners. Very good wide receiver.
Pine Richland now has a chance to go up 7 touchdowns on this drive. They still have 2 minutes and 48 seconds. And
here's the snap. They give it to Burns.
Jordan Burns, the ball carrier.
Takes it to about the, I'd say, 37-yard line.
at the clip they run plays, they might have 10 plays left if they were to use the full clock out.
And there's a flag.
Flag down. Stop
Probably even
play.
more than that, actually, like 12, 13.
False start, offense. 35 yards, previous spot, replay second.
All right, so false start on Pine Richland there means they're faced with a second and
Second down,
13.
after the penalty in the line of scrimmage is the
They sub in
34-yard line.
Gochis. And they quick bubble screen out to Gochis.
Alex Gochis, number 15.
Going
on the
down
reception
at-
on the far side.
The 37-yard line.
Chase Foskey on the
Yeah,
stop.
Holding, offense.
Another
10
holding
yards,
now.
Florida foul,
the
replay
offensive
second
line
down.
on this drive hasn't been as effective. They've gotten 2 holdings now and had a false start. Not
Yeah, definitely
great.
not ideal.
They have played pretty well prior to this drive though in the first half.
Second and 23.
And they were able to get it to Yoakum. Juking defenders, having some space.
Pass
That's a
complete
good
to
play.
Yoakum, who's
They got over
inbounds
half the yards they
inside
need, so now
territory.
they have a 3rd and about
Matchup
11.
sharp on the stop, number 1.
Much easier to get than a 3rd and 23 would be.
14-yard gain sets up 3rd and 12.
Yeah, really good 14-yard gain. And another deep ball for Yoakum.
Overthrown.
It is overthrown, yep.
And pass intended for number 5, Eli Yoakum on the near side is incomplete.
Still though, Eli Yoakum was open again, which is which is very impressive.
4th and
It looks like
12
Punch is
from the
going to go
42.
for it here, which they don't have a whole lot to lose at the 42.
Being
Doing it.
having also a score of
Yeah.
42-0.
Yeah. They also don't really need to go for it, but looks like they're going to anyway. Timeout called
Timeout.
by Pine
Pine
Richland.
That's their second.
Make sure at halftime you stay tuned because we're gonna have the Pine Richland band, and then we're gonna have the induction of the 2nd class to the Pine Richland Athletic Hall of Fame. Pine Richland Athletic Hall of Fame, including their 1988 statewide cross-country team, statewide champions. So definitely stay tuned for that one. It's worth watching. It'll be. There's only been 2 of them ever. The first was last year with a number of Pine Richland greats, including Neil Walker. Now we're gonna see. It'll be an entertaining ceremony to watch. I encourage you to stay tuned.
Absolutely. A great halftime show in place for you lucky viewers at home.
4th and 12 after the timeout.
So,
from Rand.
4th and 12.
They are going for it.
North Hills is running man coverage with 2 safeties deep. And Spencer's able to throw
They
over the
got it.
middle for
Spencer on
Yoakum.
4th and 12.
Wow.
And he did get it. That's the thing. Because they were running cover 2 man, quite frankly, that leaves the whole middle of the field wide open.
Yeah, those crossing routes were there. They must have seen that earlier because they went for a 4th and long earlier too. They didn't wind up converting because of some pressure, but I would not have gone for that. That was impressive.
Another clean pocket, completed pass to Goches on the comeback. These are the things that happen when you read the defense and respond.
Yeah, Coach Kasparovich on that last play and on this one is doing a great job. He's seeing opportunities and he's calling plays to take advantage of them. Also, obviously the rest of the Pine coaching staff has just been. I mean, they've been great. They've been having. They've done a great job calling plays and they're very good at.
And Burns takes it in for a touchdown.
They've been very good at getting the players into playing shape for these games this year. Very difficult year coaching-wise with all the COVID stuff and various things from WPIAL. You have to change your practice styles and whatnot. This coaching staff's done a very good job adapting and keeping the level of quality up. Jordan Burns with the impressive run on that last play.
Extra point is up, and the kick is good.
Jordan Burns is a senior too. A lot of seniors getting in the action for Pine Richland. Up 2 touchdowns with just less than a minute. Up 7 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns over the 35-point mercy rule limit with just a minute 10 to go in the first half. So North Hill is going to have a very hard time, assuming there is, in fact, a running clock. They're going to have a very difficult time coming back in the second half.
And Waryenka so far tonight has been perfect in the kicking game. As Nicasio prepares to kick off to North Hills.
Yep, this is their second kicker of the night. We talked about how they had 2 against Shaler. They're going to have 2 that get snaps tonight as well.
Tony Nicasio set the kick.
And Dickerson is going to field the punt, or the kickoff rather.
Robert Dickerson gets a nice return.
And he gets a nice return out to about the 30-yard line.
10 from them, 104 remaining in the first half.
Yep, they've had some pretty decent characters. They had one all the way out to the 40 earlier. North Hills just hasn't been able to convert. They've had a bunch of great field position. Off of the 2 fumbles, the recovered onside kick. They've had great field position. They just haven't been able to accomplish a whole lot with it, not get a first down.
Foskey is the running back, and Green is at quarterback. And he throws it to the near sideline, makes the catch, and he has space.
That's big for North Hills. Now they have some momentum. They got out of bounds, so the clock stops right now. And 54 seconds, they can try to put some points on the board before halftime.
They're into Pine Richland territory at the 44-yard line. And that's a bad snap.
Just when they get momentum, a big negative play now, and they're gonna be. The clock keeps running. They're gonna have to hurry to get their snap off.
Yeah, this is likely gonna be the last play of the half.
Yeah, especially because they're huddling. If you're North Hills, why are you huddling there? If they were able to audible, if they were able to call plays from the sideline, they'd have saved 20, 30 seconds.
And with the pocket collapsing, Connor intercepted!
Green's pass is intercepted.
Chance for a return here. as Luke Miller has some open field, only some offensive linemen to beat.
And
Horse collar
Luke
tackle though.
Miller.
So Heinrichland's going to have an
senior
offensive
gets
play
his
because
third
there'll be an
reception
untimed
tonight
down after the horse
for
collar
Pine
tackle.
Richland.
Nate Brockman pulled him down. Illegally, might I add.
So the clock hit triple zeros as the interception was made, but because the offensive lineman engaged in an illegal tackle. Oh, but Pirates going to have an unsportsmanlike conduct, so it's possible these could offset. Miguel Jackson there with the not particularly smart play.
There's 2 flags down on the field.
Let's not
in different
sugarcoat it. It
spots.
wasn't smart at all.
Marty Lynn and his group sort everything out.
Yeah, you always have to keep your emotions in check, especially when you're winning 49-0.
I think it should still lead to another play still, because any kind of penalty, the game can't end unless it's declined.
I mean, if they do get a play
Like,
here,
if there was an offensive penalty, then it wouldn't be an end. But I think that because there was both, it's still another play. It just might not be in field goal range.
if they're not in field goal range, just go for end
Because
zone.
Luke Miller got
I mean, you have nothing
tackled
to
at the
lose.
25 or 30. So if there was the horse collar tackle
There's
at the end
2
of that,
fouls on the play. Personal foul, horse collar against the defense. That's going to be half the distance to the goal. Then we got unsportsmanlike conduct on the return team. That's going to be 15 yards from the end of there. First down. No, once.
so Pajron got the ball actually like 2 or 3 yards behind where they would have had there not been a penalty, but they will get a down, which they wouldn't. The clock would have run out had there been no penalties. They would have had the ball at about the 12 or 13 yard line where they could have kicked a 30-yard field goal to end the half. Instead, they're going to have to throw for the end zone now.
Yeah, I mean, they have nothing to lose, even if it hits ground. They just go. They just go into
need
half.
to make sure they don't get.
And Zach Warianka is going to.
Oh, they
Oh,
are
no,
going
they're
for
gonna-
the field goal.
Yeah, they're gonna kick the field goal. That's probably the smarter move.
It's yeah,
From the
30,
right side,
40
half
yard,
on the
40-yard
left
field
of
goal.
the quarter.
Let's see if he's able to do it. It's possible. It would have been much easier without the unsportsmanlike conduct, but
Kick is up, almost blocked, and it
no good.
is no
But
good.
I
Yeah.
think there was an offside, so they're gonna re-kick.
Kick is no good.
Offside, defense. 5-yard penalty, re-kick.
So Pirates now gets another untimed down, which they will use to presumably kick a field goal 5 yards closer. And that Warenka field goal barely missed, right and about short. It was about at the crossbar distance and a tad right.
After the penalty, it'll now be a 38-yard field goal attempt.
Now it'll be a 38-yard field goal after the penalty. Snap, good hold. Kick is up, and it is well good.
It is good.
Well good.
So despite the unsportsmanlike conduct doesn't wind up having a major effect, and Pirates gets another field goal going into half. Almost an even bigger momentum boost due to the impressive nature of the field goal.
So at the end of this first half, Rams 52, North Hills 0.
Yeah, and the game's been about as lopsided as the score looks. Early on, it looked like Pirates might have some problems. They had 2 fumbles in the first 3 drives, but they were able to kick it into gear, and it'll be very difficult with the running clock for North Hills to come back 52 points in the second half, because the clock, as I said, will run except on timeouts. The clock will run continuously. No matter whether you're out of bounds, no matter whether it's incomplete, the clock will run continuously in the second half. So we'd encourage you to stay tuned and watch the Pine Richland Band and then the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. We'll see you after the break.
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the 2020 edition of the Pine Richland High School Marching Band under the field direction of Meredith Billy, Akash Katakota, and Jake Zafransky. The band opens this year's halftime show with a 1994 song by The Offspring. Here is Come Out and Play. We will now feature our dance team performing a tap routine to a 1991 song by Royal Crown Revue. This song was made famous in a 1994 movie ironically entitled The Mask, starring Jim Carrey. Dance team captains are Grace Cozé, Lily Roberts, and Riley Snyder. At this time, we would like to recognize an outstanding group of senior band members from the class of 2021. Anahita Akbari Esfahani, Ziad Amir, Meredith Billy, Adam Braxator, Megan Brash, Alexandria Catalano, Tom Catalano, Ethan Jan, Patrick Connolly, Kristen Donahoe, Aaron Dougal, Sebastian Duran, Lauren Zalowski, Holly Ebner, Evan Elm, Jacob Emerson, Savannah Foote, Jordan Gillis, Greg Gilmore, Emma Gimbel, Aiden Grebinowski, Samantha Gruber, Jessica Harvey, Hannah Harrington, Sarah Heckman, Aiden Hirsch, John Hoffman, Drew Holm, Rory Holm, Josh Imhoff, Evan Jackson, Jaden Jones, Sydney Jones, Kylie Pavan, Corinne Klein, Will Kepnick, Andrew Koenig, Akash Patakoda, Grace Jose, Miriam Lane, Natalie Loftus, Paige Longmore, Gianna Martinez, Michaela Melby, Ashlyn Monaco, Gabe Mustovic, Daniel Nichols, George Nix, Bryn O'Leary, Aiden Onan, Paige Osborne, Michael Porterfield, Quinn Pritchard, Lily Roberts, Delaney Rodriguez, Max Romano, Emily Rudolph, Nathan Sharp, Dominic Slayton, Will Smithdahl, Riley Snyder, Jared Stegman, Kyle Stevenson, Tori Stewart, Jacob Safransky, Michael Tamburi, Victor Williams, Jacob Worthington, and Ethan Yoon. How about another big round of applause for our 2020-21 band seniors? Ladies and gentlemen, now the moment you've all been waiting for. The band dances and we feature our drum line to a 1980 song by Ozzy Osbourne. Here is Crazy Train. All of our senior drummers have stepped up as leaders this year. They are Anahita Akbari Esfahani, Adam Braxator, George Nix, Nathan Sharp, Will Smithgall, Kyle Stevenson, and Ethan Yoon. The band will close tonight's halftime show with a 2004 song from the Mooney Suzuki. Here is Alive and Amplified. Ladies and gentlemen, the Pine Richland High School Marching Band. The Pine Richland High School Marching Band is under the direction of Brian Scott, Jim Stillwagon, Jim Hopper, Ben Colder, and Mark Gasparic. Color guard instructor is Amy Billy. Dance team instructor is Kathy Deal.
Good evening. Please direct your attention to the track area directly in front of the press box, as the Pine Richland School District recognizes the Athletic Hall of Fame inductees for 2020. Established in 2019, the Pine Richland Hall of Fame is a fitting and ongoing tribute to the student athletes who have brought pride and excitement to the school district and to the community. The Pine Richland District and Athletic Department are honored to have such an esteemed class of inductees to be enshrined into the Athletic Hall of Fame. Now, let's meet the 2020 class of Pine Richland Athletic Hall of Famers. Our first induction is a team, as Pine Richland welcomes the 1988 girls cross country team into the Hall of Fame. Joining us this evening for their Hall of Fame honors are the 1988 girls cross country team members Jamie Pegger Jamison, Cheryl Rice Fry, Shelley Dice Moser, Allison Rabel Valentine, Jennifer Harsh Scholler, and Christine Stair. Christine has overcome a lot to be here. She had a heart and liver transplant 15 months ago, and we are especially grateful to have her with us tonight. Please note that Laura Jerkin-Lippy, also a member of the team, could not be here tonight. This team was led by the late head coach Robert McDonough. The 1988 Pine Richland girls cross country team was the first team in school history to ever win a Pennsylvania Interscholastic Athletic Association state championship, and that achievement was done by this team under the direction of Coach McDonough. Senior members of this team also won both the section and Western Pennsylvania Interscholastic League championships in 1986, 1987, and 1988. Congratulations to the 1988 girls cross country team, and tonight we welcome them into the Pine Richland Athletic Hall of Fame. Our next inductee of the 2020 honorees into the Pine Richland Hall of Fame is the late Robert McDonough, who passionately coached this phenomenal group of high-achieving athletes to become Pine Richland's first state champions. Tonight, we respectfully recognize everything that Coach McDonough did at Pine Richland. Coach McDonough began his teaching career at Richland High School in 1957. He started coaching both boys and girls cross country in 1972, and did so for 16 consecutive seasons until his retirement in 1989. Through his leadership, the girls cross country teams were named WPIAL Class 2A champions in 1981, 1984, 1986, 1987, and 1988, and as previously mentioned, the team also won the state PIAA championship that year in 1988, the first ever state PIAA championship in Richland High School history. With us this evening to accept the coach's well-earned Hall of Fame award are members of the McDonough family, including his wife Millie, their 4 sons, and great-nephew. The late coach Robert McDonough is now a member of the Pine Richland Athletic Hall of Fame. From the class of 1998 is an athlete who embodied the true definition of the term triathlete. Kristin Wizzy competed in 3 sports for the Rams: girls soccer, basketball, and track and field. Throughout her remarkable career as a Ram athlete, Kristin Wizzy earned 12 varsity letters. Kristin was the first basketball player, male or female, to score 1,000 points. And her actual total, if you're keeping score at home, was an amazing 1,145 total basketball points scored. And basketball was not the only sport that Kristin Wizzy excelled in. Kristin ranks in the top 10 all-time WPIAL girls soccer for goals scored in a career. And again, if you're keeping score at home on Kristin, she scored 133 total soccer goals. Kristin performed with track and field as well, and at one time, she held the school record for the girls' 800 meters. Tonight, Kristin Wizzy, many athletic talents and accomplishments are being honored as she enters the Pine Richland Athletic Hall of Fame. In 1956, the late Elmer Girdwood was hired as a biology teacher for the Richland School District, where he taught until his retirement in 1982. Starting in 1962, and in addition to being a teacher, Mr. Girdwood served as the head football coach for the Rams for 2 years. He was also the recreation director for Pine Richland Youth Foundation and a scoutmaster in Gibsonia. Tonight, the late Elmer Girdwood is posthumously being inducted into the Pine Richland Athletic Hall of Fame within the category of a community contributor. Mr. Girdwood's exemplary community service and positive influence on the athletes and youth of Pine Richland produced positive lifetime benefits to the many students he interacted with. Accepting the late Elmer Girdwood's introduction into the Pine Richland's Athletic Hall of Fame are his sons, Patrick and Scott, and former football players and Pine Richland alums, Terry Dillner and John Sturman. The Pine Richland Athletic Department is honored to have the late Elmer Girdwood in the Athletic Hall of Fame. Our next Pine Richland Athletic Hall of Fame inductee is from the class of 2000. Carrie Walker was an outstanding student athlete and led the Pine Richland girls basketball team to the WPIAL championship game in 1997. At one time, Carrie was the Pine Richland all-time leading scorer with more than 1,800 points, a record that stood for 17 years. Carrie's gifted basketball skills and passion for the game resulted in many seasons of play at a high level. Carrie was a member of the Post-Gazette Fab Five. She played collegiately at the Division I level and professionally in Europe after graduating from college. Tonight, the Pine Richland Athletic Department honors Carrie's illustrious basketball career and warmly welcomes her into the Pine Richland Athletic Hall of Fame. Our final inductee being recognized this evening into the Pine Richland Athletic Hall of Fame comes from the class of 2002. Brett Warren ruled the tennis courts during his tenure as a student athlete at Pine Richland. Brett was a three-time WPIAL champion in boys tennis, where he won the WPIAL individual singles tennis championship in boys tennis in 1999, 2000, and 2002. And in addition to Brett's domination within the WPIAL, he won the PIA state championship in 2002. His strong tennis skills propelled Brett to the championship finals at the WPIAL and PIA level an amazing 7 times during his high school tenure. And Brett, in addition to his many WPIAL and WPIA accomplishments, also won 4 county tennis titles for singles competition. Tonight, Brett adds being inducted into the Pine Richland Athletic Hall of Fame to his long list of tennis accomplishments. The Pine Richland School District is proud to welcome all of these inductees and their families into the Pine Richland Athletic Hall of Fame this evening. The district has much pride in their student body and the reputation that Pine Richland students have earned over the years for both their academic and athletic achievements. The district also wishes to thank members of the Athletic Hall of Fame Committee, which under the direction of Pine Richland Athletic Director Sean Simmons, provided their time and expertise to determine this year's distinguished Hall of Fame class. So once again, congratulations to all the new Pine Richland Athletic Hall of Famers, and enjoy your evening.
And we are coming back to the game in progress. Briefly missed a minute or so of action. Pine Richland returned the kick to about the 30. They got a first down, and now they got a first down on first down, and now they're at the 43 with a 3rd down and 7 after 2 short run plays.
And they put their backups in right now, so Cole Boyd is at quarterback.
We actually already saw him throw a touchdown pass tonight on that trick double pass.
And he tried flipping it to Tristan Taylor to no avail.
Almost fumbled it actually there. That was a kind of dangerous play.
So that's going to bring up 4th down.
Loss of 3 on the play brings up 4th and 10 as the line of scrimmage is at the 40 for the game.
It's going to be a 4th and 10.
Yeah, so Warenka's on the punt now. First punt of the night for Pine Richland. That's a booming punt.
And Dickerson was fielding the punt. He just goes down to the ground at about the 23-yard line.
That was almost a 40-yard punt in the air, which is in high school is a real impressive length. That was a great job there by Warenka.
He has an excellent leg. Going into the 3rd quarter, he kicked quite the impressive field goal.
Yeah, we saw that at the end of the first half there.
And Green gives it off to the back.
Hand off to number 24.
Number 24 was the ball carrier, Curtis Foskey.
Gain of 5 on the play.
Gain of about 5 there on that play.
Chris Argenis on the stop along with number 71, Diego Petterino.
And bad snap. Green trying to do something with it, just goes out of bounds.
Yep. Not a whole lot you can do in that situation.
Yeah, so Green on the keeper gets a 1, maybe 2 yards on that play.
3rd and 3 from the 31.
So that's going to bring up a 3rd and 3 from the 31-yard line. They likely just run up the middle. As Green rolls out.
An open receiver.
Deep downfield, 21. Chase Foskey on his way down the sideline and into the end zone for the first touchdown of the night.
That's what North Hills needs to do. They need to get quick scores like that. 6 minutes of runoff in the 3rd quarter, but they got a quick score there. That's what they needed to do. One of the first real big plays from this North Hills offense so far tonight. They had the 15-yard first down earlier, and now they had that one. And yeah, that was huge. He was wide open. There wasn't anyone covering him within 15 yards. It had to be a coverage breakdown there by the second-string Pine Richland defense.
Yeah. It's North Hills. We're discussing a 2-point conversion.
Line up for a 2-point conversion. Green in the shotgun.
Green is in the shotgun. Bad snap. He rolls out looking. Pass is complete.
Incomplete.
But it's
And Green's pass
the
is
2-point conversion is not good.
incomplete.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ball got knocked out,
Intended for number
and it might not have had the
15,
distance anyway.
Dickerson.
Green
Yeah.
has done a good job, though, I will say, fielding those not great snaps. He's done a very good job picking those up off the ground so far.
It's good to see North Hills get on the board.
Yep.
At least they don't get shut out.
Mm-hmm.
Something I didn't think we'd see today. North Hills is going to kick off to Pine Richland.
Yeah, North Hills needs to keep making big plays like they did on that last drive.
And there's Tristan Taylor
Tristan Taylor, the
showing a
final
lot of
Richland
heart,
speedster, picked
fighting
up
for
the
those extra
21,
yards.
brought down.
What it actually was, he was trying to hold on to the ball there. For North Hills, it was
Maxwell Sharp, number
Max
1.
Sharp almost forced a fumble there and kept trying to pull the ball out for the last 10-15 yards that Taylor was running. And so Taylor did well to hold on to it there, and as well as to pick up the extra yards.
Another series for Cole Boyd. And he hands it off to Taylor.
Taylor, the ball carrier, gets
Taken
stopped
down
around the
quickly
line
by
of scrimmage.
Colin Quinn of North Hills.
Yeah,
Nicholas Ricardo, number 65, on the stop.
yeah, Tristan Taylor's come in. He's gotten most of his yards this year in these later game situations.
Gain of 2 on the play for the
But
Lions,
he has
picked
been
up
very
their second
effective in
eight
them.
from the
He'll
39.
likely be one of the feature backs next year with Schweiger and Burns having graduated.
There was a gain of about 2 on that play. Ball's going to be at the 39-yard line.
Big play here.
And Tristan
Taylor is
Nice
able
rip
to
down
get into the
Pine
open
Richland
space.
sideline.
Down to the 29.
Run out of bounds by number 1, Maxwell Sharp.
That was some great blocking by the
Taylor picked
offensive
up a
lineman to
32-yard
allow
gain.
Taylor to get into
Line
the
of
second
scrimmage
level.
first and 10 for the Rams.
And then he just did the rest from
29
there,
line to North
finding the
Hills.
holes and just running right through them.
And notice Pine Richland isn't running as fast paced as they were earlier. They're taking the full play clock before they run a play to run as much time off as possible.
You might as well chew clock at this point in the game.
Yeah.
And it's Mellis
Pass complete to Mellis on the far side from Cole Boyd.
to the far sideline, down at about the 17-yard line.
Mm-hmm. So that's another first down for Pine Richland, and more clock. They might be able to run it all the way to the end of the third quarter, depending on how they play it. with North Quarter having gotten just one possession, and that's what the running clock will do to you. That's why I kept talking about how North Hills needed to keep it under 35 in the first half if they wanted to have a chance to come back. They weren't able to, and now they're in this very, very, very difficult situation.
Boyd giving it to Taylor. And he has open field, juking men, taking it to the sideline where he goes out of bounds at about the
But
15-yard
there was a
line.
flag.
Around the 15-yard line. Alec Apodaca on the stop, number 8.
Alec Apodaca was there on the stop. He's number 8 for
Holding.
North Hills.
Offense, 10 yards, flag a foul, replay first.
And there was a holding on Pine Richland, so might not really play against them. They ran all that clock. The clock's still running, and they still will have first down.
First and 20 after the penalty.
Yeah, it's going to be a 1st and 20 after that penalty. And there's the handoff to Taylor again.
Taylor again.
Down to the 30-yard line.
Tanner and Nicky on the stop.
Nicky on the stop for North Hills.
No gain on the play. 7 and 20.
It's going to be 2nd down.
Yeah, 2nd and long. Pine Richland will be able to get out of the quarter with just one more play having been run.
And Boyd giving it to Taylor.
Taylor. Ball carrier goes
Gain of about 1.
No gain on the
Yep,
play.
not super effective, but Pine Richland has been doing what they need to, which is run the clock. We're already at the end of the 3rd quarter, which means 1 quarter left to go, and a very almost insurmountable lead for North Hills to come back from.
52-6. As both teams are in huddles right now. Currently the cheerleaders and the dance team and the band are
They
getting excited.
They always do that at the end of the 3rd quarter, typically with the student section as well, but a lot of the student sections trickled out, as have a number of the fans here. Definitely a noticeably smaller crowd as we get ready to start this 4th quarter. Actually, technically have started this 4th quarter. The clock's running already.
Snap to Boyd. Pocket breaking down. He's going to run it
Boyd
out of bounds.
Out of bounds on the far sideline for a short
Far
gain.
sideline for a very small gain.
So they're clearly not going to punt. Not at the 26. Do you think it looks like they're going to go for it? I wasn't sure if they were going to try to kick a field goal again or not.
23 on the play.
Gain of about 3 on the play.
And as it is senior night here at Pine Richland,
They're going to continue to try to run off the clock in between plays, and it's been very effective. We've already run over a minute this quarter.
Tonight in the Pine Richland marching band.
And Boyd over the middle, and the pass is going to be incomplete, intended for Jordan Burns.
There could have been a pass interference there, but at this point in the game, refs aren't really looking to call that.
That was
So-
my bad. That wasn't Jordan Burns. That was intended for number 30, Brandon Ansel.
Yeah, so North Hills is going to try to take over and make something happen. They made something happen the last time they had the ball. With that big play, they're going to need another one here and quick.
10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And they give it to the back. That's Foskey.
Curtis Foskey, number 24, the one.
And Foskey taking it to the 32-yard line.
Chris Argenis, number 21, and number 26, Ethan Belay.
Argenis and Malay were in there on the stop.
Yep, North Hills also taking quite a bit of time between plays, over 20 seconds off the play clock, which doesn't help them in this type of situation.
Yeah, they're losing by 46 points. And there's the pitch. Trying to look for those holes.
Pine should have that play contained too. All the motion pitch plays have been contained. That time, Camden Wells just missed a tackle, but that play's still not really working.
Yeah, so
as it's intended to.
He's gonna get brought down at about the 37-yard line.
Another Pine Richland senior.
As North Hills is gonna huddle again. I think they go to like a bit up tempo at least at this point. They're almost going slower than they did in the first half.
And Green is rolling out, keeping his eyes downfield. That's a good thing, and it's intercepted.
Yeah, big play there from
Pass intercepted by number 6,
Jackson Neff.
Miller, Pine Richland senior.
Pirates Senior on senior night and comes in with the second stringers and gets a big play. He'll remember that one. Huge play for the Jackson.
Yeah, Green just put a way too much air under that ball. Couldn't get it. He just couldn't get it over Neff.
Neff ran that ball back to about the 36-yard line, where it'll be first and 10 for the Rams.
So it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Rams at the 36-yard line. Into Indian territory. And there's another handoff to Taylor, and he has open
gone.
space. Goodbye, touchdown, Tristan Taylor.
Yeah, he said he's gonna probably be a pretty big feature back next year. They run it a lot when they come into these late game situations where they have mercy rule teams in the second half, which has happened several times this year. And Tristan Taylor always performs well in those situations, even when the other team's really expecting you to run and can load up the box. He shows quite a bit of promise for next season.
Absolutely, you're seeing the future of the Pine Richland Rams offense.
And Zion Armour up with the extra point.
As a third kicker to come in and kick tonight comes in and makes an extra point.
Yeah, Ziad Armour.
Another senior, so they're looking to get in everybody right now on senior night to make some plays, and seniors have been coming through. 59-6 game now.
7 minutes and 23 seconds left in the ball game. Important to note that North Hills and Pine Richland have 3 timeouts.
Yeah. So Pine Richland coming out to kick off now. It is
Nicasio.
Nicasio again.
Robert Dickerson back deep.
Dickerson is back deep. And he comes out with a burst of speed. Breaking tackles into open space. Dickerson. Goodbye,
Breaks another tackle.
Dickerson.
And
Touchdown, North Hills.
running back,
Big play for him.
big one for a score.
And that was impressive. It's what he almost burst one earlier too, in the first quarter, where he got out the 40 and was tackled late by
94-yard
I believe
run back,
Sam
number
Neal, or it was
16,
just Sam Neal and the kicker. That play, because it's the kicker was a linebacker too. That play you have like third string linebacker and kicker who that's his sole position back there. And so they weren't able to cover for the Dickerson breaking through the first line of defense. And Dickerson was able to convert that one all the way for a touchdown.
And North Hills' kick is up. And it is good.
And North Hills has 13 on the board.
So with that kick, it gives North Hills 13 points on the board.
It's something for North Hills to think about going to next week. They're getting some points on the board now in this second half. It's something to build upon. Even if it's coming against the second team Pine Richland, it's good to not be shut out. It's good to get points on the board. And it's good, the more points you get on the board, the better that is. So they're getting stuff to work on for next week now. And they're showing that they can get things done within a game, which is important to prove to yourself.
Set to kick off for the Indians.
Right. This game is going to give North Hills a lot of very good film that they can break down over the week to prepare for their next matchup.
Yeah.
And that was a kind of a pooch kick.
It was interesting what they were doing. I don't know if that was supposed to be
John
a
Roninghouse, number 35,
onside of some sort.
the ball,
It's kind of like a sky kick. Had a
But it was too
high
deep, so
arc.
Punch was able to get a fair catch on it without anyone really even running up on it till well after the fair catch was made.
And Pine Richland comes out for another offensive series. Mellis in motion. And there's the pitch to Taylor down the sideline.
Another pretty sizable gain for him. I wonder, it'll be interesting to see if Punch is able to run the entire rest of the clock out on this drive. They've been pretty good in these late game situations.
And with that, they move the chains and they enter Indian territory.
First and 10 from the Rams, 48.
Pine Richland doing a very effective job again at clock running. North Hills was huddling for a long time. Pine Richland is huddling for a very uncharacteristic amount of time, and that's because of the whole trying to run
First
clock
and 10 for the
thing.
Rams.
And there's a snap. Given it.
Cole Boyd with the run that time.
Cole Boyd on the keeper to the far side.
Good job on the keeper by Cole Boyd.
Yeah,
Gonna move the chains
they're
again to the right.
moving the chains again. So Pine Richland still getting first downs even this late in the game when trying to run the clock out with their second stringer is pretty neat.
Nice play down at the 40-yard line on the first and 10 Rams.
And high snap, bad snap. Boyd is able to pick it up, and he goes out of bounds for a loss.
Yep, he was able to salvage it by getting out of bounds. He could have thrown it away maybe, but that would have been kind of risky, so not gonna, it was a cool, it was smart of him to at least not try to throw it into coverage.
Second down and 19 for the Rams.
So it's going to be 2nd and 19 for the Rams. And there's a
Drop
throw,
pass.
yeah, throw to the near sideline. It was dropped.
Nevin Bowler, another senior, had a chance to pull one in that time, and right through his hands.
There's 3 minutes and 5 seconds left in this ball game. Running clock, of course, due to the score.
If you're a longtime viewer, you may remember that Ryan Bowler, who's Nevin Bowler's brother, was one of the PRTV broadcasters 2 years ago as a senior, and even before that when he was a junior and sophomore.
3rd and 19 from the 49 for the Rams.
Now 3rd and 19. And it's going to be a QB keeper. And he's able to go forward for a good bit of yards.
Nice gain
Not
on
quite a
outside.
first down, but enough. They'll definitely go for it because they're well inside the 40 now.
Yeah, makes it 4th and manageable.
And if it's a 4th down, that if they get it, they'll be able to run out the rest of the clock, so the game would be effectively over.
4th and 6 from the 36-yard line.
Yes, it would be effectively the end of regulation, but this game is basically in effect over from now.
Yeah, Pirates would still have to snap the ball twice to take knees, but
Right. And Boyd giving it to Taylor. And Taylor down the sideline picks up the first down and more.
yeah, big play there, and Pirates should just take a couple knees and end the game. Nah, never mind. There was a holding penalty on Pine Richland. There was a holding penalty, so Pine Richland will actually get backed up quite a bit.
Yeah, and because we're in the final minute with the running clock, that was likely the last play of the game. They
we'll
might
see.
get one more
We'll
off.
see. Pine Richland might be able to
Yeah, we don't want to jump the
end
gun on
it,
that one.
though. Like, it's the 4th and 12 now. So the holding was quite a bit upfield. It probably was unnecessary, really, for the play to work. There will be one more play, at least. If Pine Richland doesn't get it, I'm sure North Hills will try to run a play, but looks like they're going to take a delay game, maybe.
Delay game, offense. 5 yards.
And we are inside the final 10 seconds as the clock will expire.
And the clock didn't stop on the delay game because of the
That's the end of the night's game.
And there
because
you
of the running clock. So
and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Your Pine Richland Rams prevail against.
it's kind of bizarre that penalty doesn't stop the clock like that. You'd think that a smart team would just take like 15 delay of game penalties and run the clock for an entire quarter in that situation. But I don't know. I guess that is the rule, and so it goes to show you how difficult it is to come back in a fourth quarter situation like that. North Hills had 2 gigantic plays. They scored quickly, and yet they still weren't able to narrow it even closer than 35, which wouldn't have stopped the clock if you were wondering that at home. The clock doesn't stop once it starts becoming a running clock.
Well, today was a wonderful night of football as the Rams continue their win streak. And for North Hills, they didn't have the game they probably intended to have, but they're definitely gonna try to make the adjustments and get better for next week.
Mm-hmm. And so that concludes Fireton's senior night. They may have a home playoff game, but if not, this is their last home regular season game. So that is a big deal. They'll have a couple road games the next couple weeks. You'll probably be able to find those. But as for right now, without assuming that Pine Richland gets a home playoff game, this will be PRTV's last game of this year. So tentatively signing off for now from Pine Richland Stadium, Nicole Saw and Sam Stella.
Good night, everybody.